Meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I pretty much said my piece earlier as the host. I do have a couple of things to say opening as president. First is to thank the board, well, first of all, to thank you for continuing to elect me to the board, and to thank the board for trusting me to be your president for the next year. And I say that for the next year because a year from now, I'm going to be at the World Scout Jamboree, and I said I would do this temporarily, but I don't feel it's appropriate to not be, as president, not be at the convention. So we'll be turning this over again next year, but there's some things I want to get done in that year, and I ask for your support doing those. The other thing is, if you look at those of us sitting up at the table, and those of us who were introduced as your board of directors, I see too many gray hairs. And I want to challenge our younger members to step up and volunteer and get involved. We have committees, we have things that need to be done even if you're not on the board of directors. Let's keep involving more people. It's not a full-time job. You can work part-time. As we say in Boy Scouts, it's an hour a week per scout. But seriously, I would love to see more and different people involved in running the club, involved in planning events like this. That's how the club will succeed, because not all of us will be around all the time and to continue to do this. So we need to bring in younger people and more people that have not necessarily been directly involved before. So that's my 2 cents worth at this point. Think about it. There will be an election for board of directors because we cycle a third of the board off each year. Next spring there will be another election. If you're interested, run for office, participate, help us out, work to make this a better club. That's how we get better. That's really all I have to say other than thank you again.
Okay, so we're going to do our committee reports. Alan, who's doing the liaison access issues? Tim?
The only thing I would say, I have one comment. Next year's convention will be in Michigan, and one thing that I asked Mark Comstock to do and to work with the Wubbles family on the Illinois High Point, because we have limited access dates to that. When we're doing the convention in the Midwest and people would likely be traveling through Illinois on their way to or from, or would be making a loop through Illinois to visit that high point, I asked that we make sure we try and have access dates surrounding the convention weekend next summer. So that's the only piece of that I stuck my nose into, but I think it's something that the board and Mark will try to work out with Wubbles so that anybody who is coming through Illinois on their way to or from will have access to that high point.
Okay, at this time I'd like to invite to the podium Mark Comstock, who is going to be our host for Michigan 2019 next year. Mark famously does the watermelons at the summit. Used to do it with his wife Wendy and his brother. So great time at the summit today. We had a great crowd up there with watermelons. If any of you missed it, don't miss it next year. our host from Michigan, Mark Comstock.
As always, great to be here. Wonderful group of people. These conventions are always so much fun, and getting to talk to people and really spend time with people is one of the most special parts about all of this. And yes, this is a wonderful place. I'm pretty awed by it. We're going to have a great time up in Michigan. We are recreating, to some degree, the very first convention that was held way back in 1987. So that was the number one. So it will be the 33rd, and it will be a wonderful repeat. There were 9 people that were at the original convention. So you can see we're hoping to add a little bit to that. If you look at the registration, you will see some pictures of the original group, and of course Jack Longacre started it. And we're going to host it up in Paraga County, right up where Mount Arvon is. And we have things really well set up already. We have a lot of little finessing things to do, but we have a wonderful host hotel, the Paraga Lakeside Inn, and we have the whole place reserved. And I will be giving you lots more information coming up reasonably soon, certainly within the next 1 or 2 newsletters. I've been working with Mary Grunewald, who is a true Uber, and lives only about an hour away, she and her husband Terry. And Gordy and I are doing it from Ann Arbor, Michigan. And one interesting fact I have to tell you about Michigan is that way up in the Upper Peninsula, and where I live in Ann Arbor, there are 7, and I repeat, 7 high points closer to my door than our Michigan State High Point. But it's a joy to be up there. It's gorgeous, gorgeous country, and we have some neat things planned. We have a beautiful waterfalls, Crystal Falls, that you will really enjoy. It's a beautiful hike. We have a tour of the old Ford sawmill that's just down the road. We will be making sure that you have an opportunity to do the old state high point, which is Mount Kerwood, which is really right up, really next door to Mount Arvon. It was pretty difficult to find after a while, once it was decommissioned, if you will, as the state high point. Mary and Gordy and I spent the better part of the day trying to find it, but we did. So, oh, excuse me, my phone just. Yeah, that's embarrassing. But there are a lot of other really great things that we want to introduce you to. The Upper Peninsula is a special place, and of course, up from there is our Isle Royale, which is probably the most obscure national park. We're going to see about not really being officially part of the convention, but maybe seeing if we can get some people to get together after the convention, maybe starting that Sunday, to go out there. But again, we're still working on those details, but it won't be genuinely convention orientated. We have a very rambling hall called the Whirligig that houses 300 people, and it has a wonderful open bar and it has a 6-lane bowling alley there. So we have a lot of neat things to do. Thank you.
Okay, I guess we'll open up the floor to any old business. Any members have any old business? All right, if not, we'll move on to some new business. What I think I'd like to insert into the program now, a couple of items. I have David Dolan is with us today. David has a quick story he'd like to come up and share with us. And I'm going to turn the podium over to David from San Diego, California. Thank you.
My name is David Dolan. I'm from San Diego, as he mentioned. You probably not have heard this before, but the Highpointers Club has saved my life. Let me explain. Now, I first came aware of the Highpointers in the mid-1980s. I did see that ad in the Outside magazine in 1986 by Jack Lonacker, and I went out and quickly purchased the book by Frank Ashley, The High Points of the States, that was published in 1970. Now, at the time, I was finishing a couple master's degrees at UCLA, and I thought there was no better way to procrastinate finishing 2 master's theses than to dream up what I want to do next instead of doing my work. So I got enchanted with the idea and went on and climbed Mount Whitney, the high point in Hawaii, Mauna Kea, thank you. But it kind of stopped there. That went on, started climbing Mount Kilimanjaro multiple times and lots of other mountains. But the whole idea of high points of the States really intrigued me, but I never made it to a convention. Well, fast forward, in 2013, I was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. I was wondering why the last few times I tried Kilimanjaro, I had to quit at 17,000 feet. I thought I was just out of shape, but things weren't working. And it turns out in 2013, my older brother died at age 59 of the same disease in a hospital at USC Los Angeles, waiting for a transplant. Well, I told that to my doctor. I had a cough that did not disappear, and they put me on fast track. Fast forward to this last year, they put me on the list for getting a double lung transplant, and then the waiting game begins. It takes up to 2 years to get a lung transplant. Well, I probably had only a few months left to live. I started meeting at the recommendation of my transplant team with a psychologist. And this psychologist was one who specialized with people with chronic illness and people actually with fatal illnesses. And he told me, why don't you come up with a couple of bucket lists. One is the pre-transplant bucket list, in case the transplant doesn't come or you die in the midst of the operation or what have you, and the post-transplant bucket list. So the pre-transplant bucket list was really short. I want to see my son graduate with his AA degree. I want to get right with everybody I needed to get right with. I also want to get my will in order, which I think, shout out to Dave Covill of the Highpointers Foundation. It's a good time. It's better now than let somebody else decide what happens to your estate. In any case, got all that done. But then I had post-transplant, if by some miracle I would survive. And I came up with a list of things. I'd like to see my son graduate with his BA degree, not just his AA. I want to finally clean out the garage for my wife, and a few other things. But go to all the national parks with Nancy, who was so supportive. But also want to start climbing at least half the Highpointers. And that goal just kept me going. And June 21, last year, I had a double lung transplant after 10.5 hours. After 2 weeks in ICU in the hospital, I came home. And the first thing I wanted to do is look up and join the Highpointers Club and register for here, and got room number 101. And here we are. I've already done 3, and I did 2 before the transplant. And I'm not sure how far I'm going to go, but this organization saved my life. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Might as well keep the good times going here with other good news from other High Pointers. Bruce Marshall has asked for some time on the podium to talk about Apex 2019. Bruce, it's all yours.
Is Eric Krantz here? Come up a minute if you would. Now, Eric is Jack Longacre's grandson. Thanks for coming, Eric. I wanted to meet you, and I wanted to give you a copy of the Apex Challenge booklet that we did 24 years ago in a pack. Okay, Apex Challenge 2019. Go to high points and leave no trace. I'm going to give you a short presentation based on who, what, when, where, why, and how. My name is Bruce Marshall. I've been a member off and on since 1991. On Mother's Day, May 14th, 1967 at 2 a.m., my unit was overrun in Vietnam by the Viet Cong. I was a sole American survivor out of a 4-man advisory team, and we lost over 24 Army of Vietnam soldiers. I tell you this with feelings of humility and extreme gratitude for the 18,675 bonus days I've enjoyed since that day. God gave me some more missions, and I truly believe tonight is one of those missions. What? The Apex Challenge is designed to encourage outdoor adventure. When? Specifically, from January 1st next year through December 31st next year. So, January 1, 2019 through December 31, 19. Where? Well, as we all know, 50 states have highest geographic points. And depending on the resource consulted, some 14 state high points can be reached directly by car. 18 have trailheads reachable by car with only a half-hour to 4-hour round-trip hike to the actual high point. And the final 18 high points are true mountain climbs. And by the way, 21 high points are wheelchair accessible. Now, why? Several reasons. Since the Boy Scouts BSA is open to girls next year, what better than a national event encouraging them and all of us to get outdoors? Number one. As we all know, these are wondrous places, and compared to national parks, for the most part, are a lot less crowded. It'll be the 25th anniversary of the Apex Challenge that I did in 1994 with this club, and we have a few members that participated in that event. And third, in 1869, the West Point Association of Graduates was formed, right after the Civil War. So next year is the sesquicentennial of that event. There are 50,000 living West Point graduates, including me, across this country, and my objective is to go up and get them to support this event. Finally, as pay forward for all the bonus days and awesome benefits I've received, I'm just working to encourage the Boy Scouts and the WPAOG in the Apex Challenge for a second go. This will be an activity promoting diversity and unity across our nation and help us to get past political, ideological, racial, social, economic, and religious differences. Thank you for that. Now, how? This event could be huge, involving tens of thousands of people across the nation and from around the world who want to be part of something much bigger than themselves. This is a celebration of life, freedom, our country, our environment, helping each other, and promoting positive activities and values. My website, apexchallenge.com, is being updated and improved. It's probably going to take another month or so. Provide current links and information, encourage registration and participation, and allow trip reports, including digital photography and videos on the site. Finally, I need help. If you are interested in being a state liaison, state web page administrator, or both, please email me, bruce@apexchallenge.com. Or if you're interested in more information or want to participate as a participant, email info@apexchallenge.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce. Where's my bartender back there? Can you get the staff out? The bar, by the way, the bar will be open until 11 tonight, is what I'm told, 11 o'clock. Don, did you get that? Don, are you awake? Where are you? All right, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the back of the room, if you to the wait staff there, the bartenders, the cooks, the servers, all those folks here at Mount Magazine Lodge. Thank you.
Justin!
Thank you. All right, we have a giveaway. Gary, yes.
First of all, it's pronounced Zelk.
Zelk. Got it.
Actually, in Polish, it's pronounced Zelk. Long story short. Anyway, this is not quite like the previous presentation, but my daughter and I have a tradition of having everybody sign our journal, and it's floating around somewhere else.
I'll make that.
Still going on.
Yeah, Gary has a tradition where he has everyone sign the journal. It's being passed around the room, so
Who hasn't signed it? I know it's a group.
if anyone hasn't signed Gary's journal, raise your hand, get your hands on that, get it signed. Okay, I have a giveaway, courtesy of Bill Wenzel, fellow Pennsylvanian. He has, in this envelope, it's an original Jack Parcell Tri-State Corners guide. And he had a little sign-up sheet out front earlier that we have a number of names that are in a little jar here. And let's see, I'll have Mick pick one out, I guess. Come on up here, Mr. Dunn.
Nick Dunn.
And the winner of the Jack Parcell Original Tri-State Corners Guide is Jenny Tragg. Jenny? Come on up, Jenny.
You're welcome.
There you go. Congrats. All right, before we get to the selection of the 2020 site, I'd like to invite one more person up to the podium here who has a few more remarks, and that's Dave Covill from the Highpointers Foundation. It's okay to say foundation at the banquet now, right? Is that good? Mr. President, we're good? Dave Covill.
Thank you, Bailey. Thank you, board, especially. I'm Dave, and I'm a Highpointer. I need your help. We have done a lot of amazing things in 11 years. From 500 donations from 200 plus individuals. We raised $175,000 only from Highpointers. No foundations, no corporations, no nothing, just people, which is amazing. Thank you for doing that. Do me a big favor. Everyone who's ever made a donation, either of money or in kind of a book or something, please stand up and be recognized. Please, don't be shy. Thank you. We love you. Thank you. Stand up. Thank you so much. Now reach for your wallet. No, thank you. I invite you to go to Highpointers.foundation.org and look at all the things we've done. Look at the projects. We've had a project in 32 states. So far, we've got several other states we're working to get a project in. Thank you very much, Stony Brook. Please stand up for the sign, the amazing sign. Every single person in this room saw that sign today. I have half a dozen fellow foundation board members. Please stand up. Jim Blaze, Mary, who else is here? Al Dempsey, Fred Lovedell, and Stony and I. We thank you. Most of our people just couldn't be here this year. Thank you. We need volunteer help. We can use help. You don't have to be a director, but if you live near a state high point and you got an idea, reach out to us. We're very available. It's easy to email us, it's easy to phone us, it's easy to write us a letter. It's all on the foundation website, Highpointers with an S, foundation.org. Anybody who needs a business card or a brochure, come see me. I'm sitting in the back. We are working actively in North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Georgia, South Carolina. We've got several projects in the works, and we're branching out to something new. We've seen enough benches for a little while. We're thinking of helping some places fund a webcam so that people can see what's going on at individual states, see what the weather's like, see what the conditions are like on that road. Some people said, well, that takes away the magic. I don't want to see it till I get there. Well, don't click on it. But if you're the type of person like me who likes to super plan and get everything ready and get up there, and you want to know if it's mud on the road in North Dakota, well, we're going to try and figure that out. Nothing's for free in this life, and you know, $5, $50, $5. We've had huge donations, we've had tiny donations. It all helps. Thank you very much. That's all I got.
All right, folks, the time has come to nominate the state that will host the Highpointer Convention in 2020. Next year is in Michigan. And in 2020, we moved to the West. If you look on the back of your programs, it has the listing of where our conventions have been since 1987. So you can see what Western states we've already done. And I'll read you the list of states that are eligible for nomination for 2020. In alphabetical order, we have Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. And again, you see the list of where we've had it, some of the newcomers here, the new attendees, see where we've been in the past. If anyone nominates Arizona, they will be escorted out of the room. We've been there twice. We're not going back a third time, not for another 50 years. So, with that, I will open the floor to nominations for the Highpointer Convention in 2020. I recognize Eric Livingston. Eric Rick, come on up.
Can't do this alone anymore. I would like to nominate Boundary Peak in Nevada.
Yes.
Why not? I think it's my favorite high point. I don't really know why. There's a beauty about that mountain. The first time I did it with fellow Highpointers. I went up with other people who are sitting in this room right now who showed me the way. I think I only had 3 other high points when I did that. And I had a great time. It's a wonderful mountain. It's far away from everything, but I feel like it deserves a convention. The last time it had one was in 1991. I don't know if I was born then. Long time ago. And I think it's time we go back.
I know I was.
No gray hair here. The town of Bishop, California is nearby. I think it can support us. I may be a little sacrilegious to hold a High Point convention in a state that the High Point's not in. But I don't think anybody wants to stay at the burnt out thing that's right by the High Point. Yeah, Chicken Ranch, maybe not. But I think Bishop's got what we need to do the job that we want. It's a big town, it's got like 4,000 people. It's got about 870 rooms available in the town. So we'll squeak by in that, but I think we'll be okay. There are guide services local to the town who I think can help us out, especially if you're going to be interested in doing some of the other peaks around the area. You know, California's right there. There's a lot of other adventure going on right in that region. I think it'd be a great spot for us. And what I'd like to do is bring a family aspect back to it. Exactly what we're talking about, getting people without the gray hair in. I've got 2 very young kids myself. I haven't done many high points. I know there's other families out there who maybe don't have as young kids as I do, but have kids that are maybe 7, 8, 9, right to start their high pointing adventure. So I'd like to make that a cornerstone of the convention in Nevada, assuming you guys select me, so that there's something for the older people to go out and do, and that there's a way to link the younger generation in, the really young generation in, and get them involved and get them motivated and do stuff.
And as his partner, I wholeheartedly support this. We can do this there.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a nomination for Nevada. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second over here. Who's taking minutes? Jim, you're the secretary. So a nomination for Nevada. Are there any other nominations for the West in 2020? Have a hand up in the middle.
I would like Utah. I've never been there before.
Right.
I haven't climbed it yet. I wouldn't mind.
So the rule is that if you do nominate, you are responsible for organizing and hosting the convention.
Never mind.
With that, I will entertain a motion to close nominations. Any other nominations for 2020? If not, can I hear a motion to close nominations?
I move, so moved.
Second.
So moved by Don Holmes. We have a second up here, Tim Webb. Those in favor of closing nominations say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, so we only have one state. So I guess by acclamation, those in favor of going to Nevada in 2020 say aye. Aye. Congratulations, Eric, our host for 2020. Amen. Folks, that pretty much concludes our new business, unless anyone has anything they want to bring to the floor today. I'll recognize Alan Ritter.
One quick thing, thanks to Sony for reminding me of this. There is currently an access issue at Sassafras. There is currently an access issue at Sassafras Mountain. They're grading the top and putting up a new observation tower, so that high point right now is closed through August-ish. Knowing that it's a state project, I'm gonna say ish. So just anybody who's planning on going to South Carolina, be aware that there is that access issue. Thanks, and thank you, Sony, for reminding me.
Any other new business to be brought to the floor? New business? Hearing none, we'll move on. Any remarks for the good of the order? Hearing none, we're going to do one more thing before we close, and that is the ceremonial passing of the torch from this year's host, Alan Ritter, to next year's host, Mark Comstock. We don't have the official banner with us today, so they're going to do it with a handshake. It's all you, folks. Can I hear a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned, folks. With that, our program comes to an end. Thank you all for coming out tonight. The bar's open till 11. Safe travels, everyone. Happy high pointing. Keep climbing.